Okay, so I wanted to record a very quick demonstration of a situation or a way that I could imagine you using the Rode M2 as. This is about 6 inches away from my mouth, pointed at the corner of it, and you probably wouldn't want to get right on top of it unless you're going for that voice of God, because then you really engage the proximity effect. And that may not be ideal for long listening periods. So if you're doing audiobooks or anything, maybe a distance of 6 inches, you still need to focus on having a well treated room because audiobooks have their criteria, their requirements in terms of sound quality. And if you're in a completely reverberant room, that may not work that well. But I also want to include a few tests of other handheld condensers. I'm going to switch over to the Shure Beta 87A, and then I will go to my favorite handheld condenser currently, the Neumann KMS 105, so you can hear the sound differences between all of them. But right now, this is the Rode M2. Now I am on the Beta 87A, and I did have to increase my gain a little bit. You can hear that this is much crispier. I don't know how else to describe it. It is a bit crunchy in the upper frequencies, not the most appealing, not the smoothest, not the easiest to listen to, but in a live situation that really you're not going for the most pristine audio quality. You're just going for some added detail and making sure that the mic is capturing the sound so you're able to manipulate it a little bit more. But this is a slightly more expensive handheld condenser compared to the M2, and here is how it sounds at about 6 inches away. And the last microphone that I have here is the Neumann KMS 105. I think that this is a hybrid of the Rode M2 and the Beta 87A. The M2 is more mid-forward and smooth. The 87A is just incredibly detailed, almost to a fault. This has that detail in the top end. It has the smooth sound as well. And I just think that this is a beautiful sounding microphone. And I have had some people say that this is their favorite microphone on my voice and that I should go back to using this for the podcast. This is the Neumann KMS 105, $700 though. So it's not really a fair comparison between $200 microphones, but I wanted to include it so you could hear what the handheld condenser could sound like. But to reiterate, I think if you are doing an audiobook, eating the microphone and getting right on top of it may not be the best choice unless you are trying to provide that voice of God, because as you get right on top of it, you get that, it's nice and warm and full, and there's a voice of God. Also, you need to make sure that you handle the plosives, and for that, I would recommend getting a pop filter just to ensure that no stray gusts of air hit the diaphragm and ruin your recording, anything like that. You won't be handling it, so handling noise not really going to come into play. And I think that's it. If you want actual voiceover tips, I would recommend going and checking out Booth Junkie because he actually does voiceover for a living. I'm just a dope who does a podcast and reviews microphones and records some music occasionally. So that's my take on it. I hope that gives you some additional insight into my thoughts on the Rode M2. Just all around, the Rode M2 is a very nice handheld condenser microphone, especially when you put it up against something like the Beta 87A.